Peace to the gods and goddesses out there. This is Brother Sakham. At the request of Brother Sakham Mohammed, I did this video over, and the title of it is Brother Sakham Mohammed, did Dr. York receive a fair trial? Because first of all, I had some issues with the copyright violation. I did not want to get a copyright violation and get suspended for a third time. And plus, the mid part of the video had absolutely nothing to do with the trial. So this is only the trial, and Dr. Sakham Mohammed will go in, and he's going to start speaking right now. So, you know, just bear with the video quality, but you can still hear the voices.
Yeah, I tried to put the airplane mode on, but it just cut everything off.
I was thinking that because airplane mode is so that I think it's so that you can't use your phone at all.
Yeah, well, I'm not exactly no computer whiz, but I know this case well enough, though.
Right.
Okay. Now, what I want to address to everyone listening, and I will hear this at a later date, my name is Brother Abdul Muhammad, or Sakham Mohammed, and one issue that never seems to be brought up about Dr. York's case is did he really receive a fair trial in the first place? Because of social media and such, people have made up their mind about certain things they have heard with no real proof, no real evidence, hearsay, and such. But do they ever ask, well, did that man receive a fair trial and a proper opportunity to defend himself against these accusations? Now, let's make this clear here. Dr. Malachi Z York is not in prison doing 135 years for child molestation. He is doing 135 years on RICO and money structuring charges. There were allegations of not child molestation, but traveling and transport with the intent to indulge in unlawful sexual activity with a minor. That is what Dr. Malachi Z York was originally picked up and arrested for off the street. I will share that information with you right now. Okay. We have here fact number one. Dr. York's presumption of innocence was destroyed by both the press and the media and the courts. Now, your presumption of innocence, for those who don't know what that means, is your right to be innocent until proven guilty. You have that right no matter what the accusations are. That you are supposed to be innocent, and the media is not supposed to portray you as a guilty person before you are found guilty. Because the media reaches so many people so quickly that they can portray you as you're a guilty person and you haven't even been to trial yet. Now, it's another thing if you're caught in the act doing what you are accused of on film or DNA evidence or whatever, based on what you're accused, you're going to trial and looking at various charges. Now, I don't know how many people in the listening audience know about a program called COINTELPRO. COINTELPRO was a program that was up in the early in the United Improvement Association, the United Negro Improvement Association, because and the basics of the program was to stop the rise of a black messiah. Because notice it wasn't a Puerto Rican messiah or a Chinese messiah or a Japanese messiah, but a black one, a Nubian messiah. Because they knew and know that one day our people will unite and get ourselves together, and there may be one person or a group of Nubian people that come together and spark and raise the rest of the nation. So the government's thing with this COINTELPRO program, you should look that up, is to stop the rise of that black messiah. So whenever there are any black groups or organizations that come along, the government sets right out to destroy them, like the Black Panthers, like the United Negro Improvement Association, like Dr. King's organization. And usually what they do is they character assassinate the leaders, then they physically assassinate them. Once they've tried to destroy your character and reputation to the public, then they go out and physically kill you to where the public is almost saying, good, it's good for them, I'm glad they're gone, because they were bad people. And that's not the case at all. Now, fact number 2, jurisdiction issue number 1. January the 23rd, 2003. Dr. York plea bargains to charges on both the state and federal level. Well, that's a mistake there. One was January 23rd, one was January 24th, if my dates are correct. The problem is that you can't get the feds until sentencing. In the Fed, you have a pre-sentencing investigation report. 6 months later, the judge rejects the plea bargain at the federal level. They brought in cameras and filmed this illegal plea bargain and showed it all over the media for 6 months, thereby eroding Dr. York's presumption of innocence in the eyes of the public. Also, according to Dr. York, the plea bargain was acquired under torture and duress. How does he get a fair trial now? Now, one of the things when you're dealing with the issue of jurisdiction is when that issue is brought up, or whether you have the jurisdiction to try my case or the right to try me, the trial is not supposed to proceed any further until that issue is resolved. When you have issues of jurisdiction, because in the opening statement of the Garland was his original lead trial attorney. This was when he only had the state charges dealing with the transport and travel and its alleged molestation. As Garland stated, there are over 5,000 cases in the state of Georgia involving child molestation, and there's no federal into these cases. Could this be that this is a special why are the feds getting involved in this particular case? Because a lot of people don't know this, but child molestation is not a federal crime. It's a state crime. In the federal law, they do not have laws pertaining to child molestation. Now, hold on for 1 second.
Snake, did you see the walkie that you took out of it?
Okay. Now, when these jurisdiction issues were brought up, the judge basically just brushed it under and didn't address it. And Dr. York's lead trial attorney at that time, Ed Garland, didn't push the issue any further. Now, Attorney Adrian Patrick and Attorney Benjamin Davis fight motion to bar the prosecution from proceeding based on 6 months of publicity showing Dr. York pleading guilty at the illegal plea bargain hearing based on a constitutional right to a fair trial. Now, what a lot of people don't understand is when you see that video where Dr. York is walking up to the bench and doing the plea bargain, in a sense, you have made a deal. Yes, you do plead guilty to whatever the charges are, but it's based on a deal. That's why it's called a plea bargain. Now, according to Dr. York, the plea bargain was done under torture and duress. That he was tortured into doing the plea Afidou Diallo and the brother they beat down in California, and many other cases where they have beat black people in police custody. Now, in the feds, Dr. York is indicted on 4 counts of the Mann Act, Title 1823-24A, transporting minors, transport. Difference between the two: in traveling, you pay a cause person or persons to go through the transportation system, Greyhound or whatever, for the purpose of having unlawful sex. Transport, you provided or accompanied them across the interstate for the purpose of having unlawful sex. Now here's the catch to this whole thing. It says that this was allegedly done, this transport, to with the intent of indulging in unlawful sexual activity with a minor. Now, how do you know what a person's intents are if they have not told you? So I could have the intention to come over and give you a gift and change my mind. But if I never told nobody I was intending to do anything for you or to you, then you know. So the key thing in that is the intent to indulge in unlawful sexual activity doesn't mean he did anything to anyone. Now, the federal government used the word molestation. They used unlawful sexual activity, yet they prosecuted Dr. York for child molestation. Now, this is the federal government. Now, this is something people need to know. There were no children on the witness stand who got up and said Dr. York molested them or did anything to them sexually. The people who got together and came up with this idea, this scheme to go to the government with, were all adults who were claiming these things happened when they were children, but there was no proof of it. Now, the children that were interviewed, that were arrested on the day they raided Tamaray, Egypt, but West on May 8th, 2002, when they were questioned as to what their purpose for coming down to Georgia was for, and was it to indulge in sex with Dr. York, they said no. Now, at the time, the lead FBI agent's name was Jaylene Ward. She was the lead government witness. And when she was cross-examined on the stand during Dr. York's attempt to get a bail, which they call down there in Georgia a bond, she was asked, did any of the children that she interviewed say to her that their purpose for coming down to Georgia was to indulge in unlawful sexual activity with Dr. Malachi Z York, who they were calling Dwight York? And they said no. Now, this was the FBI agent saying when she interviewed them, she said she had no children or nobody who said to her that was their purpose for coming down there. Right then and there, the trial should have been over. But they were determined that they were going to keep Dr. Malachi Z York locked up and that they wasn't going to let him go because they saw him as an icon of black success in the black community. He was uniting people. He's building Tamaray. You have 30,000, 40,000 people coming down to the land at times on Savior's Days and such. Now, I'd like to ask everyone in the listening audience, when is the last time you've seen 30,000, 40,000 blacks and Latinos and such get together? Nobody's fighting, nobody's cussing, nobody's drinking, nobody's smoking. Your children are running around, having fun, playing. You're not worried about anything happening to them. When is the last time have you been in that kind of an environment with Nubian people? See, this was the environment Dr. York was creating with building Tamaray, Egypt of the West. Now, Title 1832-33. They suspended general limitation, which was 5 years, by amending another statute of limitation to that one. The general offense, as long as it wasn't capital, was 5 years. And that means for the people who were claiming that they got so-called molested up in the state of New York, the general limitations was 5 years. So people should ask, well, if they're saying that this took place in New York, why wasn't he tried in New York City or in the state of New York? Okay, now, if you look at the Mann Act was created to go after Jack Johnson around 1910. The act was designed for prostitution, white slavery, and the transporting of that across the commercial highways of the federal government. See, this is partially how the feds were able to get involved with the case, because they claim that to travel across the commercial highways of the federal government to indulge in this so-called unlawful sexual activity, the intent is partially what allowed them in. Now, molestation is a state law jurisdiction. The feds don't have a child molestation law because the state already has one in effect. For the federal government to have a law at the same time as the state violates the 10th Amendment, which states the powers not delegated to Congress are reserved to state. The state used the Mann Act, yet they never prosecuted Dr. York for being a pimp. They prosecuted Dr. York for child molestation. The problem is the state never deferred its powers to the federal government. That is a jurisdiction issue. I should have said the federal government used the Mann Act, yet they never prosecuted Dr. York for being a pimp. Because that's what the Mann Act was all about. Because it was created in 1910 to go after Jack Johnson, who used to be the world heavyweight boxing champion, because he had a Caucasian wife. And when he used to travel across the country, they were mad at that. You gotta remember the era of time. We're talking about 1910, where if a black man even looked at a white woman, they'd hang him from a tree. So this man is traveling all across the country with his white woman, who was legally his wife. And because they were mad at him for that, they came up with this law specifically to go after Jack Johnson, to stop him from riding around with his wife. Now, use the term molestation, yet the feds have no molestation laws in the federal United States codes. The state used molestation, while the federal government used unlawful sexual activity / molestation. Ed Garland, at the bond hearing on May 13, 2003, opens up by stating that there were over 5,000 molestation cases in the state of Georgia, federal intervention. Was Ed Garland really saying that this was an unusual prosecution that appears to be selected to only go after Dr. York? Ed Garland was challenging jurisdiction at that point of the federal government, but he never got specific as to what that jurisdictional issue was regarding the federal government using state law. And the judge told him at some point you can challenge jurisdiction. That means that the judge acknowledged that it was a jurisdictional issue that Ed Garland was bringing up. To this very day, Ed Garland never challenged jurisdiction or the right jurisdiction. The dual sovereignty doctrine and dual prosecution rule clearly states that the federal government, being a sovereign entity, and the state, being a sovereign entity, cannot prosecute you for the same crime. The question is, can the federal government prosecute you for a crime that only the state has in its law books? Okay, now, in the issue of double jeopardy was when the state or the Fed had to trial one after the other for the same charges. Now, what they did with Dr. York is both the state and the federal government attacked him simultaneously. What this does is you're fighting a state case and a federal case at the same time. So that drains your finances to hire competent attorneys, because you have an attorney for the federal issues and you have an attorney for the state issues, And if anyone knows how much a good attorney's cost, that's going to drain your money real quick. Now, at the bond hearing, this is a violation of Dr. York's presumption of innocence. At the bond hearing, magistrate Dr. York's presumption of innocence by declaring after hearing all of the testimony from Dr. York's character witnesses that, and I quote, he believed that the acts he heard are reprehensible and likely to continue, thus declaring Dr. York guilty without a trial. Now, for the court to state at a bond hearing that the defendant's acts are reprehensible, it thus declaring the defendant guilty and destroying the defendant who was Dr. York's presumption of innocence and the right to be declared innocent until proven guilty. Now, check this one out. The judge compared Dr. York to two felons and a murderer, Jim Baker, Jimmy Swaggart, and Jim Jones. He might as well have stuck his head out the window and declared Dr. York guilty. To compare you with two felons and a suspected murderer renders you guilty by association. To compare a positive with the negative renders the positive negative. The lawyers, the Ed Garland firm, should have gone to the appellate court on roller skates and made a legal issue out of what Judge Hicks had done. 2 days later, Sheriff Howard Richard Sills held a press conference with the union recorder and called Dr. York, who was unconvicted at the time, a serial pedophile. He never used the term alleged. So you have 1, the media from the beginning, 2, the judge at the bond hearing, and 3, Sheriff Sills 2 days later at the press conference with the union recorder. Dr. York's lawyers, the Garland firm, never held a counter press conference to refute or rebut those presumption of innocence destroying accusations, and never cited the sheriff, media, or judge for attacking his client's presumption of innocence. Now, what's significant about that is when your client is attacked by the media or whoever and is accused of a crime, and that could be anybody out there listening, if your lawyer or team doesn't come out to the public and refute those issues, the public assumes it must be true. Because if it wasn't, the law say something. Now let's bear in mind, Dr. York is a victim of a conspiracy. There was a very large conspiracy going on to stop Dr. York and what he was doing and what he was accomplishing as a black leader. These accusations and charges was part of bringing him down, because people should ask themselves, when they arrested Dr. York, why didn't they just put 50 bullets in him or kill him like they did Malcolm and Martin and such, and say he was reaching for a weapon or something, and that's why we had to kill him? The answer to that is, it would have made him a martyr in the eyes of the public because of who he is, the information he was putting out, and what he was accomplishing. See, let's look at the man's accomplishments. And what that did was, in them not killing him and making him a martyr, they were looking to character assassinate him and destroy his reputation with the public. Then, as they went on, to lock him away for as long as they possibly could. Because you got to remember, he's doing 135 years on RICO and money structuring charges, not for child molestation. And no, they are not running with the federal case. Those 135 years are straight up for the federal charges, which is the RICO and money structuring. They did docketed the state case, because in the state case, for the plea bargain, he was offered 15 years and a bunch of stipulations to go along with it once those 15 years were over. Had he just accepted that state plea bargain, he would be already out in the street by now. because he'd been in prison for 16 going on 17 years. A lot of people might not realize that. Now, Dr. York was attacked under federal RICO counts that were designed to go after organized crime, thus declaring the United Nubian Nation of Moors a criminal enterprise or organization. RICO had been used to go after certain black leaders and other leaders. When you have a weak case and you use RICO, you can alleviate the beyond a reasonable doubt standard on a direct criminal charge. You can do a very small thing like be linked with unknown conspirators and still be guilty of a crime, whether you did or did not know the ultimate object of the conspiracy. Now that means in the RICO and money structuring, let's say I know you and we cool with each other, but I don't know you committing crimes. But because I know you and they want to come after me, they can say because I know you, I got something to do with it, and I don't even know what you're doing. This is how RICO and money structuring charges are set up. And because RICO was originally created to go after the mafia, the time you get on the charges is a lot more time than some other type of charges. Now, you had a group of people who said it didn't happen to me, even though these people said it did. But I'm saying it didn't happen to me, and it didn't happen to them either. 6 of the children taken by DFACS denied anything ever happened to them, period. There were 50 to 60 children on the land at the time of the raid who no allegations were ever made against. Now, the purpose of a bond is not to punish before conviction. Now, Dr. York is sick on medication and is denied bond. It wasn't because of the alleged sexual act, because both Kathy Johnson and Dr. Malachi Z York were accused of participation at the same bond hearing by FBI agent Jaylene Ward. Now, the thing is, FBI agent Jaylene Ward, but not by the alleged victims themselves. And these alleged interviews were not recorded. Make note, Ed Garland, Dr. York's attorney, never brought that up. This was not a case of known organized crime figures. In RICO, you have to show organized crime activities, meaning you have to show more than one crime. The government tried to show that the interstate commerce was used in a crime, which was child molestation. That was one crime. And that was the majority of the crimes alleged. However, you had to show another crime to show a pattern of racketeering activity. Otherwise, you cannot sustain your RICO charge. If you don't show your criminal enterprise, that destroys your RICO, which destroys your statute of limitations. So they needed a money structuring charge to justify the racketeering activity. The argument by attorney Adrian Patrick was, even if the interstate traveling was true, there was no money made from it. There was nothing that linked the money structuring charge with the alleged transport. The government struggled to show a pattern of racketeering activity, so they were searching for another crime. The two had nothing to do with each other. Because what they were trying to do was say, well, Dr. Malachi Z York is transporting children across the commercial highways of the federal government, basically being a pimp. But the federal government does not have child molestation laws and pimping laws in the federal government jurisdiction. That's the state crime. So people should be asking themselves, if Dr. Malachi Z York was supposed to be guilty of all of this molestation and such, why is he only doing federal time, and why is he only locked up in a federal prison? And if you have a criminal enterprise, organized crime, why is Dr. Malachi Z York the only one in prison? Where are all the other criminals that were supposed to be involved in this case? Now, the government picked a jury pool from what had already been declared as a bias-tainted jury pool. and they picked the grand jury from the same bias-tainted jury pool. The government should have picked the jury from the new market. The grand jury and the trial jury were both picked from the same tainted markets, meaning the judge tried to say the reason he moved the trial down to Brunswick, Georgia, was because the people up in Athens and wherever else they were at had already been exposed to news about the trial, but allegedly down in Brunswick, they hadn't heard anything. But that was the judge's hometown. Now you got to remember they have an anonymous jury, so you don't know who your jurors are. A closed courtroom that was closed from the press and the public, even though they had some kind of room that was supposed to be hooked up in another building, where they had some kind of TV screen or something where you could see part of what was supposed to be going on in the courtroom, but you couldn't see the jury. Now,
told me about that.
So, and another thing I heard from people that were down there was that when you went to the courts, they had snipers on the roof, police out there dressed in heavy armor, and all of this. Now, this is to give the public and the jurors the impression this is a dangerous group of people, like a Black Panther type organization, and they're gonna go off. That was done on purpose to give that impression. The Nawabian Nation never had no accusation of violent criminal activity ever.
Somebody else told me about that too. My mentor in the nation, Brother Kufu.
Okay, now, fact number 18. The government never presented their witnesses, just people who got up and said this allegedly happened to other people. So attorney Adrian Patrick got up and called the actual alleged victim listed in the indictment. And she said nothing ever happened to me, and I never saw anything happen to them. After undergoing a grueling cross-examination by the government, she still maintained that nothing ever happened to me. Now, Ed Garland did establish through cross-examination of lead FBI agent Jaylene Ward that the government had no witnesses that stated that the intent of interstate travel was for sex with minors. That destroyed the entire federal part of the case jurisdiction issue. Jurisdiction issue 25A. When Jaylene Ward established through her testimony that there were no witnesses or testimony to establish that the purpose for the interstate travel was to have sex with minors, it should have technically ended the case. Legally, the judge at that point should have said, well, that's it, and it never should have gone to a jury. No jurisdiction. The federal government argued a state case, but not a federal case. Another jurisdiction issue. Fact 25B. Jurisdiction cannot be assumed once challenged. It is the duty of the district court to show whether they had jurisdiction or not. Based on the prosecution's lead witness, FBI agent Jaylene Ward stated that there was no witness that could testify that Dr. York transported children over the interstate for unlawful sexual activity. Once that was established, the judge at that point should have held the hearing on the matter to see what evidence the federal government had that gave the right of jurisdiction. And if not enough, then the federal case should have been dismissed and let the state case go ahead and try their case. Fact 25C. FBI agent Jaylene Ward stated on the witness stand that there was no testimony or witnesses to confirm that the purpose for the interstate travel was to have sex. And now, legal facts. Initially, Dr. York had a 4-count indictment that was superseded by a RICO count. The original indictment was not a RICO indictment. Now, RICO at minimum is an extremely complex count, easy for the government a lot of time to prepare for. It's not enough time to prepare for a RICO trial in just 6 days. Now, some of the people here listening might not be aware of this, but when Dr. Malachi Z York went to actual trial, he had changed attorneys to attorney Adrian Patrick. And when Mr. Patrick requested a stay so that he could be granted more time to prepare his case, the judge wouldn't grant it to him and only gave him 6 days to prepare his case. Now, the atmosphere around the courthouse, the snipers on the roof in the courtroom and courthouse surrounded, gave the impression that these were very dangerous individuals. Now, some people might not know this, but there was actually a hung jury. Now, let me explain what a hung jury is for those who don't know. When you go to trial and the jurors hear the case and they're told, okay, go back and make your decision based on what you've heard, testimony, cross-examination, etc. And they can't come to, because it has to be a unanimous decision. Now, if they can't come to a unanimous decision, that's called a hung jury. If one or two or however many of the jurors hold out. So now, when you have a hung jury, the judge has two options. He could either dismiss the case and let the jurors and the defendant go, or he can tell the jury to go back in and try and retry to come to another decision. Now, obviously, if the jurors were trying to hold out, the only decision they could be trying to tell you to come to is guilty. Now, hung jury day 1, juror could not reach a decision. Day 2, around 1 o'clock, a note came out to the judge that they wanted to remove one juror because they were not agreeing with them. The makeup of the jury was all white, except for one black man and one black woman, who was only known as juror number 62. The black lady who did not want to convict Dr. York, she believed that he, Dr. York, was innocent and that they were setting him up. The judge moved the case to his hometown, then had an anonymous jury, and then a hung jury. Juror number 62 tried to hold out because she felt they were setting Dr. York up. Okay, now, we had no Nuwaubian spokesperson speaking on behalf of the community and no Nuwaubian lawyers fighting on behalf of the community. Dr. York was saddled with bad attorneys. Ed Garland never challenged the jurisdiction that he himself brought up at the bond hearing. By right, Garland should have stayed all state proceedings until the state issues were resolved, or the federal issues of why the federal government is getting involved in a state crime or charge. As a result, Dr. York's presumption of innocence was destroyed at an all-time high. People inside the organization started handing out state indictments that were very detrimental. So by the time Dr. York came to the plea, he was already rendered guilty in the eyes of the public. Okay, so I'm going to stop right there. And if any people have any questions on what they heard, and see, the main thing I wanted to show is all of the jurisdiction issues, the issues with the judge, the issues with attacking Dr. York's presumption of innocence, his right to be innocent until proven guilty, the closed courtroom, the anonymous jury. Now, the Concerned Citizens Committee of New York put out a DVD. Just recently we put it out, but the DVD was made 14 years ago. You can go right on YouTube and look it up. It had actual interviews with the people that were involved in the conspiracy. Because Jacob York, how the conspiracy really got started, was Jacob York had issues with his father, Dr. York. And from what I understand, Jacob wanted to borrow some money because Jacob was in the music industry. and Dr. York was a very well-known person in the music industry. And Jacob was promoting, a lot of people might not know this, but when Little Kim and Biggie and all of them were getting started, Jacob was their manager, from what I understand. And Jacob wanted money, he wanted to borrow money from his father to support these artists. And Dr. York was like, I'm not going to do that because I'm not supporting that gangster rap and that porno, you know, the type of rapping and stuff that Biggie and Kim did. That pissed Jacob off. Now, Jacob rounds up a bunch of sisters and various other people. They went on a trip to Florida where they conspired to come up with this, oh, I was molested when I was a child in New York. And there's a sister that's doing the interview named Sakham Mohammed on the interview where she states that she was on the trip to Florida and Jacob tried to get her to be a part of that scheme. And she said one of the things that the people who were down with it, she didn't agree to it, but she said from the people who did agree, that one of the things they had said was that to make their lies sound believable was that if they were interviewed by any FBI agents or sheriffs or whatever, they would call each other, tell each other what they said to whoever was interviewing them, so that they all would be telling the same story. So this is how that got started. And then Sheriff Sills claimed that he had originally received an anonymous letter about some molestation and this other stuff going on. But when he was questioned by a reporter, I think it was for the Union Recorder down there in Georgia, as to why he didn't arrest Dr. York immediately, he claimed, well, he had to do a 4-year investigation because he didn't have enough evidence. Now, if you're saying someone is molesting someone, are you saying that you was peeking around Dr. York's windows waiting 4 years for him to molest people, or it took you 4 years because none of that wasn't happening in the first place, and it was all made up? And as far as I know, I don't think he ever even produced this so-called anonymous letter. And under Georgia law, when a state official or a police officer or such receives any information about a child being harmed or child abuse or whatever, they were supposed to report it immediately to DFACS, not do their own personal 4-year investigation. So these are the real issues involving this case. There was no DNA evidence, no picture evidence. Originally, there were no RICO and money structuring charges. See, when Dr. York did the plea bargain in both the state and the feds, according to Dr. York, he had been tortured and was under torture and duress to do the plea bargains. Notice now, 6 months later, they say that the federal plea bargain was done wrong. So they ended up taking Dr. York to trial. But it took them 6 months to realize it was done wrong. The reality is, in that 6 months, they were preparing their federal RICO case. Because originally, the state charges that he plea bargained to only carried, I think it was 12 to 15 years in prison. The judge said out of his mouth he didn't think that was enough time. So, the bringing up the RICO and money structuring was to give Dr. York more time in prison, which ended up going to be 135 years. Now, I would like anyone on the radio or on the air or wherever they hear this at to tell me, how would you feel if you were going to trial with an anonymous jury, a closed courtroom, your reputation being destroyed in the public, in the media, no real good legal representation, You're sick in jail and not receiving your medication. So, and let's not forget the most important thing, COINTELPRO, which was to stop the rise of a black messiah. So a lot of the people that participated in this, they didn't realize they were being used as pawns by the government to bring down another black leader. Because what I want people to do is look at Dr. York's accomplishments and what he was accomplishing. The over 400 books that he wrote for the upliftment of black and Latino and Nubian people all over the world. The Tamarays he built. What black leader do you know since the beginning of the 20th century ever built anything like Tamaray? Had us wearing our Egyptian garb, doing Egyptian rituals, talking about we're Moors and Native American, talking about sovereignty and indigenous status and such. Yes, some did talk about it, but they never built a land. Because see, when you talk about black people uniting and people uniting, you have to have some place for them to come and unite and live. If you're really going to live a community type of lifestyle as a people. Well, we got to have somewhere to live at, like they got Chinatown, Little Italy, and so forth. So we had Tamaray. And if you go back in time, back to Black Wall Street, the Move Group in Philadelphia where they bombed, they dropped a bomb on the whole city block and blew the whole group up.
Yeah.
They have a serious issue with us uniting and coming together because they know once we unite, there is no stopping us. So, of course, anyone I see that's uniting black people on a large mass basis, they have to try to take him out. And that's what happened with Dr. Malachi Z York. So the question should be, did Dr. Malachi Z York receive a fair trial in the first place? Thanks everyone for listening. And if you have any questions, please feel free.
Well, I think that's good enough. You know, there's some people that came in, some people that came out, checked it out, but I do know it's going to be quite a few people that's going to be looking at this, and they're going to start putting questions in, because you know it's the weekend. People probably get ready to do their thing. So you know, I'm honored to have you on, and you know, maybe we could do something else on a different day where people, you know, would actually want to come in and call and see, you know, what they have to say. There's a brother that was trying to call me before, the brother that I interviewed last time, you know, the last interview I did. He was saying to the effect that, you know, we was talking about the lawyer and everything like that, you know, that bullshit lawyer. And I don't know if he wants to call in, but let me see, because I don't know if you know him or not. Brother James Owens.
I don't think I know him, but the name doesn't sound familiar anyway.
Yeah. So I'm thinking, because it was right at the edge of me coming on, and he started calling. I mean, he called, but I couldn't answer because I was right there. This is the phone that I use. So I was thinking that he might have wanted to ask you something or something like that, but let me just see something real quick.
Sure. Oh, you know something else I want to say too?
Yeah.
The people should be asking themselves, why is Dr. Malachi Z York locked up in ADX Florence, Colorado, the worst, most secure, super maximum security prison in the United States of America? Now, from what I understand, he's been in solitary confinement for the last 10 years. Being in ADX Florence, Colorado is bad enough. It is the worst prison in the country and the most secure, where for people who don't know, you're on 23-hour lockdown every day. You get 1 hour to come out your cell to do exercise or whatever. And when you come out the cell, what they do, they still have you handcuffed and shackled. And you basically go in a room with only a window type structure in the ceiling. All you can do is look up and see the clouds. You can't even see trees and stuff, and walk around in a circle. If you watch any DVDs on life in maximum and super maximum security prisons, you'll get a better idea of the lifestyle that this man, who is now 72, going on 73 years old, he's a senior citizen, been locked away for the last 16 years because they were scared of the information he was putting out and his ability to unite Nubian peoples. For any of y'all who might not have ever seen it, you should go on the internet and pull up Tamaray, Egypt of the West pictures to see what this man was building. And when you look at the pictures, I want you to imagine that only 19 acres of that land was developed. Now, he had purchased 476 acres of land. Now, if that was 19, imagine what could have been done with the rest of that land under the guidance of Dr. Malachi Z York had he been given the time.
Right. Yeah.
And another thing, too, is how come there's no black leaders, no black people in the conscious community, no entertainers, no people with money that's Nubian coming out and saying anything in Dr. Malachi Z York's defense, even if not down to why have you held this man in solitary confinement for 10 years, a 73-year-old man? What threat is he to anyone at 73 years old? Shouldn't that be looked at by the black people in the black community as cruel and unusual punishment? For a person that's only locked up for RICO and money structuring charges? What's the guy who stole $66 billion? Bernie Madoff.
Okay.
I wonder if he locked up in solitary confinement. I wonder if he in 80X Florence, Colorado. And he stole $66 billion. Not million, but billion. And they give Dr. Malachi Z York for some alleged structuring money that he doesn't deposit over $10,000 in a bank. And then when you watch the conspiracy video by the Concerned Citizens Committee, or the conspiracy to destroy Dr. Malachi Z York, there's a part in there with Habiba Abigail Washington, who has a child by Dr. York, consensual, and she was stating how she was the one in control of the finances and in control of what was deposited in the bank, because Dr. York didn't handle the money. So whatever decision they made about what was deposited in the bank was made by Habiba Abigail Washington or whoever was in charge of the financial department at that time. But Dr. York, and she said it clearly on the video, did not tell them to structure any money to avoid tax requirements. And she clearly said he is innocent.
You know, another thing too, when you really take a look at two particular entities, the Catholic Church and the rabbi priest, that have admitted and that has like red-handed, and I guess you can throw the murder-ass cops in there too that kill people unknown, but I'm gonna stick with the Catholic Church and the rabbis. we have a case of rabbis over in Israel, wherever they live, giving children hepatitis by circumcising them with their mouths. Not one of them.
But here's my thing. I don't want to get into the sexual aspect of anything, because that's not what Dr. York is doing 135 years for.
Yeah, but
see, this is one of the major issues with the Nuwabi community itself, is they keep allowing people to direct them to sex. Dr. York is not doing 135 years for child molestation.
Right.
So that's irrelevant.
Okay.
Let's talk about, did he receive a fair trial, and why is he doing 135 years? And the fact that he's doing 135 years for RICO and money structuring charges.
Right.
They tried what they did. They tried to use the transport and travel to say that's where he's getting his money from to run his organization, Tamaray Egypt of the West, the United Nuwapian Nation of Moors. That's how they were trying to say he was making his money. Then the money he was making, he wasn't depositing XYZ amount in the bank.
Okay. This one thing, and now I remember what I wanted to ask you. Just before, maybe like a half hour or maybe like an hour before I called you, did you get the text that I sent you? It says I was going through the internet. I was actually looking for something completely different, and Dr. York popped up on the internet, and they said that he's suing. I think the government. I didn't get a chance to read it, but suing the government for $2 billion, something like that. I sent the article to you.
Well, I'll put it to you this way: until I can't confirm nothing I have no definite proof about, because it's the internet, it's social media. People say all kind of things on there. I've been hearing for the last 17 years from the Nuwabian organization itself, he'll be out tomorrow. He'll be out soon. Now, 17 years is not soon when you're sitting up in the maximum and super maximum security prisons.
That's James Owens calling now. Want me to put him through?
Definitely.
Okay. Hold on. Hey, peace, brother.
Peace. Roll back.
I couldn't call you because I was going on live in like 3 minutes. But Brother Muhammad is on the phone. You're on live right now. I want to marry y'all real quick if you want to, because we're on live YouTube right now saying, did Dr. York get a fair trial?
Oh, okay.
Hello?
Sakham Mohammed.
Peace, Rahul back.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. This is Brother James Owens. Brother Owens, this is Brother Sakham Mohammed. And he was just going on. He was putting down the knowledge of the court case, What I'm going to do, I'm going to cut that right there, because as it goes further, it is what the people come on and start to talk about is not really relevant to the court case. So I had to do a recap, like I said, first of all, because I didn't want to get a copyright violation by playing somebody else's music in the beginning, and by request of Dr. Sakham Mohammed, he wanted to keep it strictly on the case. So this is the part 1, and I'm going to have the part 2 up later on. But, I don't know, whatever you think, write in the comments. Tell me what you think. Did Dr. York receive a fair trial? And I'll be putting the rest up a little later on. Peace, Black Power, and Wadu, and all that other good stuff. Until next time, this is Brother Sakham, Key Life Productions.